Don't you hate it when you're doing your training and you're just not seeing results and you get frustrated and you just want it now? Well, I'm here to talk about, in this video, why exactly getting your results as quick as possible. It may not be the best idea, especially if you're looking at long-distance triathlons. I'm Ryan, setthepacetriathlon.com, and we're doing some quick tips talking about developing your engine over time, not necessarily just trying to do as quick as possible and be like, I'm going to go from 0 to full Ironman in 6 months. I'm going to be as fast as possible. I'm going to go out there and just kill it. Maybe that's not the best plan. So let's go over the tips of why I don't think that's the best plan. Number one, avoid injury and burnout by trying to go fast right out of the gate. I've seen it happen several times. People do great, and they have great results at the beginning, and then doing that much work in a short amount of time and that much intensity, it just leads to injuries. Your body's just not ready for it. It's just not built for that, and you haven't developed the muscular endurance to really withstand that pounding, and people injure just random injuries. And they don't know why, and nobody can really, they go and get all these x-rays, MRIs and stuff, and nothing's really broke, nothing really strained, nothing really tore, but they just hurt themselves, and it just takes forever to get over it and get back into it. So being quick and in a hurry leads to injuries and possibly burnout. You're just like, so much this week was so much work, and it's week after week, try to get as fast as possible, and you get the race day and you do it, and you're like, I'm done, that was too much work. Rather it be sustainable over time. Number two, by working the lower zone 2 aerobic ranges, you develop a big aerobic engine. So all these athletes, and typically people see athletes do well on race day, and they're like, oh man, it looks like they just roll out of bed and do this stuff. More often than not, the people that have better performances and don't look like they're suffering out there have developed years developing that aerobic engine over time. And you're just seeing a small, minuscule amount where they go out on race day and they really tax that aerobic engine. Years, possibly, of good aerobic training to build that base on, to go out and then build speed and endurance and everything else off of. It opens up so many doors to have a good aerobic base that people just don't want to do, the slow, easy stuff, or they do it too easy. I mean, you can go to the opposite end, and you're doing too much stuff in zone 1, and you're not really affecting zone 2. That zone 2 is really what you want to expand. You want to have that good base so you can really tax it later. You can go over the limit, but still be able to come back to a good sustainable point to be able to keep taxing that limit. And if you don't have that good aerobic base, if you got just this little bitty aerobic base, you hit the limit, and you got nothing to fall back on, and your body just cannot take that kind of pounding. So develop that big aerobic engine to be able to do the really building block work that will lead you, especially in the longer distance races, that will lead you to better results. Number three, training at the low zones teaches your body to become more efficient at burning fat as fuel. So that is going to be key, especially in these longer races where basically you're going to use up all your glycogen stores in your body, and then you need to burn some other fuel types. You can take stuff in, but when you're working at the higher zones or even zone 2, it's a little bit more difficult for your body to burn fat as fuel, and even carbs. If you get to the higher end stuff and you're working really hard, your body can't do anything. Basically, it shuts off blood flow to the stomach, and you're not processing foods or whatever. And you really want to be able to tap into reserves, because fat stores have abundantly more energy than carb stores in your body. The carb stores are just the short-term stuff that keep you going from minute to minute. That fat burning is really what keeps you going for the long period of time. And working that low aerobic zone will help your body be able to use those fat stores in the race, so you extend out how far you can keep going without needing as much energy in the immediate food and nutrition. You don't need to keep stuffing sugary drinks and sugary gels and sugary bars and everything to keep you going, because you don't need that immediate carb fix, because you'll be able to burn fat for a little bit longer. When I say that, you're not going to be burning 50% fat. A good 10 to 15% fat burning per hour, that's pretty solid. You get in the pro level, you're not looking, like I said, you're not burning 50% fat at any point in time, but you want to be able to maximize as much as possible. So lower zones, working them, teaches your body to burn fat instead of carbs for fuel, and you want that long run for long runs. Number four, even in a sprint or Olympic distance triathlon, your ability to sustain a high speed is determined by the size of your fat-burning engine. So if you're running, like I said, if you're running at the higher speed, you're using that energy up quick. And if you're running at higher speeds and you have a good aerobic base and you work that lower zone, you can still burn some fat and still keep that higher speed for a sustainable, more long period of time. So that makes sense. It's all about the energy level, energy in, energy out. If you're expending a lot of energy and you're not able to put a lot of energy in because you're really working really hard, if your body can't find some other source of energy, at some point you're going to hit the wall and you're not going to be able to do whatever you're doing, sustaining at a certain speed or continuing on to the race. So again, that aerobic base is really super important, even if you're racing higher speeds. So keep that in mind. Number 5, a big key to training consistently over time. And that's why I like to see my athletes that have a long career in the sports and do well and aren't necessarily back in the pack. Even if you are back in the pack, that consistency over time, and for me personally, has been built because I have a strong base and I keep it up year round. I don't just fall off the mat for the holidays and then go from zero and start up again. And it's just high impact to your body and stresses it out to keep going from nothing to something, and then ramping up for things like IRONMAN races in 70.3. So being consistent in your training, even during the training plan, the bulk weeks, and during the off season, will determine the ability to be able to retain that fitness and that aerobic base, so you don't have to keep working from scratch every time you want to start a new race season or new training plan. So keep that in mind. Consistency is king. Number 6, speed work hurts. It's not fun. So you've developed this engine, you've done your consistency. When you do speed work, it's going to be uncomfortable. And if you want to get faster, you're going to have to push yourself. And assuming that all systems are go, you've got your good fitness base, you've got no injuries or anything like that, you fuel well, just going out there and doing fast things hurts. I mean, if you look out there, it's not about the ability to just go faster and be comfortable. It's being able to withstand the anguish and the suffering, and you just get better at handling the pain and discomfort, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind when you're developing your engine, you're really working that high end of the level. It's all about being able to withstand that discomfort over time. And the more you can withstand it, the more you can kind of push out the pain, the faster you'll be able to go. So that was number 6, speed work hurts. Number 7, sleep often is overlooked or sacrificed. So if you're working on this, developing your engine over time, you keep running into problems, you're like, I don't need, I'm sacrificing sleep because I got to get my workouts in. Now, sacrificing an hour of sleep to dedicate that to workout time or something like that, if you're doing that every day and you're not getting, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, usually is kind of the guidelines, your body's just going to deteriorate because it cannot recuperate, it cannot regenerate, and it cannot recover from all the work you're doing, and you're just going to end up getting hurt. So don't ignore sleep. Don't sacrifice sleep to do your workouts. Make sure you have a sustainable situation. You're going to bed at whatever time you need to be able to get up whatever time you need to do your workout. Or if you're taking naps or something like that, work something in. Make sure you're not sacrificing sleep, because that will definitely be detrimental to building up that engine. Number 8, long, slow distance work works on increasing stroke volume. So we're talking about the stroke volume in your heart. So get a little bit more technical in these last couple points. It really trains the body to be more efficient in delivering oxygen to the muscles and pumping your blood through your body, through your heart, all that kind of stuff. So it increases the stroke volume that you can push through your heart and get out the oxygenated blood through your system to pump it through the lungs, all that kind of fun stuff. So long, slow distance work works on increasing stroke volume because that's what you're working on, is being able to supply your muscles with energy to keep going as long as possible. Number 9, reduced heart rate means you could do more work for less effort, increasing cardiac efficiency. So why do fitness tests with athletes? They're always kind of puzzled because they go, well, my run speed was actually faster, but my heart rate was lower, which is exactly what you want. You want to be able to do more work at more output at less work from your body. So instead of 165 beats a minute, it was 162, and you did, instead of 730 minutes per mile, you're doing 725 minutes per mile, and everything else is pretty much the same. That's the goal. That's the mark of improving efficiency, is being able to do more output with less work from the heart rate. And if you're being able to do that, now if you go and do your fitness test, you're like, well, I did 7.5 minute miles last time and then did 725, and my heart rate went from 165 to 170. Then that's a mark of you may be reaching, you may be overtrained, you may be not trained enough, and you just try to push it as hard as possible, and you just suffer through it to get a faster pace. But it may be an indicator that maybe you need to work on that engine a little bit more to increase everything that we just talked about. So I know I went through it kind of fast. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you saw us on Facebook, give it a like. YouTube, give it a like. Subscribe, hit the notification button, see future videos. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I get notifications. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. If you think I should have added something, let me know. With that, we're going to end this video, and we'll see you in the next quick tips video or race-specific video that I talk about the courses.